Alright, welcome back everyone. It's Average Player here. October 1st, 2021 Banlist Phantom Knight deck profile. So this is basically the same thing that I posted when I made the video on my Phantom Knights deck profile. Basically, um, there are a few changes. Not very much. It's only like an addition of a few cards. I've played tested a couple other things. Obviously the E-Telly went to 2 in this deck, so you have a little bit of an extra combo to go with it. Then the extra deck has changed a little bit too, but I guess we're just gonna get right into it then. But I'm just gonna go into a little bit more depth into why I'm playing these cards more than last time, because I sometimes just don't explain stuff the best when it comes to the cards. And since I've played the deck a little bit, gone to a couple tournaments with it, and play tested around a lot, I can explain you guys the reasonings why there's multiples of some and not others. Right? We're going to start off with the Phantom Knight monsters. I'm going to try to go through it relatively quick, but in doing that, I got to also explain at the same time why these cards are at 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever, and say, oh, you could play this at 3 or whatever, this can be played at 1, whatever. And, it always depends on your play style. So, right, you're going to play at first. Obviously, 3 Torn Scales. Alright. And I'm trying a new camera angle today. Something a little bit different. And I have to zoom in a little bit. New recording software. All that other stuff. So it's probably going to look off. But whatever. So Torn Scales. Probably one of your best normal summons in the game besides Tour Guide. Or in the deck, anyway. Besides Tour Guide. It's going to be a normal summon and not unsummon, but you can discard a card to send a Phantom Knight from your deck to the graveyard. It's what you want to see in that deck. It helps you set up your graveyard and get your plays going. But obviously the best normal summon in this deck is Tour Guide. But next you're going to play 2 Boots. You could play 3. It would not hurt you to play 3 Boots. Boots is that card. It's your basic extender, where if you're a Phantom Knight monster, even if you have another Boots out, you can just special summon himself out. And then it's level 3, so you can still make your plays with Cherubini or Levier or whatever you want to make your plays with. Alright, Cloak 2, I play 2 copies. You could play 1 if you really wanted to. And it wouldn't hurt anything if you did play 1, because Cloak being at 1, if you wanted to, all it does is banish to add the Boots or the Torn Scales. Whatever piece that you need and whatever piece that you haven't summoned out yet, but it's better to add the Boots off of this because, I would, in my opinion, even if you wanted to, you could play 3 Boots and 2 of these, so you can always have a Boots in your hand, so you can go into something next turn, or you can play 1 Cloak, 2 Boots, or 2 Cloak, 2 Boots, 2 Cloak, 3 Boots, whatever you want to do. But you can easily play this card at 1. It would not hurt anything. It basically doesn't do anything in normal summon. It has a crappy effect on field, but its effect in grave is amazing. But the only bad thing is obviously all these cards in grave, when they have their grave effects, are once per turn. Torn Scales special summons itself when a Phantom Knight is banished. So, yeah. Next card for the last card in Phantom Knights is Ragged Gloves, and we only play 1 Ragged Gloves. It is probably the worst normal summon you can get in this deck. It is a brick. Even if you normal summon this Chain Kage, Kagemucha, you can still make Cherubini or whatever, but instead of you jumping your Skarm or your Graph or your Seer from Cherubini, you gotta dump another Phantom Knight card, like a Phantom Knight monster, so you can banish Gloves and make the most out of your play, and you're not going to make a full board off of that. Alright, so get rid of those guys. And next, just talking about this dude, you're going to play 3 Kagemucha Knight. Alright, it is a great extender, and obviously, you chain it to these 3 cards right here. Tour Guide from the Underworld. You can normal summon Tour Guide, her effect on normal summon. Generally, everybody knows what she does. Special summons a level 3 from your deck. Alright, I'm going to go over what her target is here later because I want it to be kind of a surprise. So, when you normal summon Tour Guide, though, you chain Kagemucha because it's an effect to summon itself when a level 3 monster is normal summoned. So you basically chain block with Kage because they have to respond to Kagemuchi's special summon before they can respond to you special summoning from your deck with Tour Guide. So, which is like the best thing. Next, you're only playing 3 Burning Abyss monsters, 1 Skarm. This is a new addition to this deck because even at the end of the turn, you're going to have Dragoons out, obviously, always. If they interrupt you a lot and you still have Skarm in your grave, you use Cheerbini or whatever for it, at the end of the turn, this still allows you to get a card into your hand off of Dragoons, and that will allow you to play off of whatever, get your Cheerbini back out, whatever, so you can start playing Burning Abyss engine to flow through. But this allows you to add a level 3 Burning Abyss when it's sent to the graveyard at the end of the turn. Graph allows you to special summon a Burning Abyss from your deck. And Seer allows you just to special summon a Burning Abyss from your graveyard, and all this happens when they're sent to the graveyard. So those are my those are only 3 Burning Abyss monsters that I played. They all can special summon themselves if you control no spell and traps, but they also have a negative effect if any of your monsters, that if you do control other monsters and they're not Burning Abyss monsters, they do blow themselves up. Even if you control like Kagemuchi Knight, him, and a Seer and a Graph, if you control Kagemuchi Knight, Seer, and a Graph, the Seer and the Graph, they would still blow themselves up because that Kagemuchi Knight would hit the field, and they do have a monster in the field that's not Burning Abyss, so they would just go kablooey. Obviously, you're not going to do that because that's bad Yu-Gi-Oh! You're just going to use those 3 to XC, or use those 2 to XC, and then get your Kage out. Or whatever. That was just an example. Next, we're going to play the 2 E-Tele targets, Psychic Tracker and Psychic Wielder. Great cards. They special summon themselves to level 3, or you can use just E-Tele to special summon these bad boys out. And in my opinion, the E-Tele is going to 2 in this deck isn't a bad thing, because you can use 1 since it's once per turn. I think it's once per turn. Oh, it's not once per turn, but say you could see one of your Psychics in your hand, you special summon the other one off the E-Tele, and you have another E-Tele in your hand. Obviously, always the least you can make is Dragoons, and that always makes sure you have a card in your hand for a negate. But next, we play only 2 dangers, Jackalope Asuchi. Jackalope, obviously you reveal it from your hand, your opponent chooses a card in your hand, discards it. If it's not danger Jackalope, it special summons itself in defense position, and you draw a card. Always good. And if it was danger Jackalope, he'll send himself to the graveyard, obviously in this card, and that special summons a danger from your deck, which can be Tsuchinoko. Tsuchinoko has an effect kind of like that. Obviously has its same effect as all the dangers. If it's not chosen, it special summons draw a card. But if this one is sent to the graveyard from the discard, it special summons itself. So doesn't matter what happens. Tsuchinoko is generally just gonna hit the field if you get one of these dangers. If you get either one of these dangers off. Next is another 2 cards that I added in to kind of see how they would work and add the consistency to the deck. But it's been working for a lot of other people, as I've been seeing, and this makes actually a lot more sense. But 1 Junk Forward, it's a free special summon of a level 3 monster. All you have to do is control no monster, so it's good, and it's a target off of Rhoda, so you can just add it to your hand. And then Sangan. I actually think this card, because somebody mentioned it, was actually a good idea in this deck. You can special summon off a Tour Guide. This is going to be your Tour Guide target instead of your BA monsters. The BA monsters are still there if you get them, or you can get them to the graveyard or whatever. But Sangan, special summon off a Tour Guide. Its effects on the field are negated, but when it's sent to the graveyard, that effect will still activate to add you your next few cards, because it will search them, but you can't use them this turn, obviously, which is fine. 2 Ash Blossom and your 2 Effect Veiler. It will always add either Ash or Veiler. They can always Ash the Sangan, but they probably aren't going to, because you're just adding the hand trap, but you can't activate it this turn unless they're really worried about the hand trap next turn. But there's still that possibility that you could have one of those hand traps in your hand at the beginning of the turn. Next is just the last 2 monsters we play. Obviously, I said something about Dragoons, so you're going to play the Red Eyes and the Dark Magician. Alright, next we're going to start off with our Phantom Knight spells, which is just 1. Rank up Magic, Force. It just allows you to basically XC summon a Dark Xyz monster that's 1 rank higher than an Xyz monster on the field. And I can't I cannot special summon for the rest of the special summon from the extra deck except XE monsters for the rest of the turn. Doesn't really matter. You're going to use it on your opponent's turn in tandem with your Rusty Bardiche to get a pop and then also set up another negate. But I was just talking about this card. 1 E-Telly, 2 E-Telly. You're going to play 2 E-Telly. Not once per turn, but it special summons both those psychics from your deck. So E-Telly's good. Obviously, since it special summons both the psychics from your deck, or you could, if you theoretically top deck both of them, you know, whatever. But it's good because you can special summon those for free. And your other E-Telly in this deck, but for Warriors, is Rhoda. Who doesn't like Rhoda? Yeah, so Rhoda is going to be that one card that you want to play. Adds the Warrior, adds Junk Forward, and your Phantom Knights. Yippity, yappity, yippity, yappity. Alright, next is for cards that we'd like to see. I mean, maybe right off the rip, maybe not. One of them you would like to see basically off the rip since you're playing a combo deck. And I'll tell you which one that is, but you're going to play 1, 2, 3 Forbidden Chalice. This can easily be changed out for Droplet. And then obviously when October 1st hits and the Mega Tinge drop, you could play Crossout Designator instead. Or in tandem with Forbidden Chalice, and it would not hurt anything. But if you're going to play Crossout Designator, in my opinion, I would get rid of the Forbidden Chalice. Because the Crossout Designator will obviously be better than the Forbidden Chalice. Because hand traps are way worse. And the reason why I say you can get rid of the Forbidden Chalice, you already play enough monster negates with your, you can play 3 Fogblade and your Dark Requiem with Utopic Draco Future and Dragoon. So, yep. And then you would, if you can get it, top deck a Harpy's Feather Duster. It basically baits out any negates or destroys your whole opponent's back row. If the only thing they have is 1 negate, it helps. But another card you like to see in your top deck is Called by the Grave, because Crossout Designator is not a thing yet. So your opponent tries to hand trap you, this stops all of them except for Nibiru. So if your opponent basically hits you with Nibiru, you can't use this because you're screwed. Alright, the last spell card, obviously I said something about Dragoons, but it's Red Eyes Fusion. Lastly, is your spell cards, or not your spell cards, wow, your trap cards, all Phantom Knights. 3 Fogblade, 1 Sword, and 1 Shade Brigandine. Everyone knows what Fogblade does. Negates a monster's effects. They can't attack. Sword, your monster gains the injured attack. If it be destroyed, it be destroyed instead. If the monster be destroyed, the sword's destroyed instead, which is fine. And then the Shade Brigandine, if you control no traps, you can activate this card the turn it was set and becomes a normal monster, level 4. These 4 trap cards right here, the 3 Fogblade and the Sword, banish themselves from the graveyard once per turn to then special summon a Phantom Knight from your deck. So that's good. Alright, next we're going to go over the extra deck. And this has changed by 2 cards, I shall say. Because I took a card out, added the card in. So technically it changed by 2 cards. But 1 Link Spider. 1 Cheer Beanie. Because I already had this in the last one. And technically I said that last one I had the Vertanaconda. My buddy was borrowing it. And it's the truth because I have it now. The Vertanaconda. Nightmare Unicorn. Rusty Bardiche, and Appaloosa Bove Goddess. Those are all the Link monsters you're going to be playing in this deck. They all have their uses. Link Spider can be used in tandem with the Shade Brigandine if you just need to get out something, or Link Spider can be used if your opponent nibs you. At least you can get rid of that token. It's obnoxious. For Link Spider, Cheer Beanie, you use 2 level 3s to make it, and it dumps level 3 to the graveyard. And it protects cards it points to from destruction. So that's why BAs are good if you can also summon them and they have another monster out. Vert, I don't need to explain that. Everybody knows what Vert does. Nightmare Unicorn hits the field, discard a card, send a card back to the deck. If it was co-linked, you get to draw a card. Only use it once per turn. Rusty Bardiche, I don't really need to explain that. It allows you to send one to set one. Send a Phantom Knight, send a Phantom Knight. And then Appaloosa, if you make it with 4 cards, it gets 4 monster negates once per chain. Alright. We play 1 fusion card. Mr. Should get banned. Should have gotten banned. Don't know why it didn't get banned. Dragoon. Right. Next, all the cards that we have are all Xyz monsters. 1 Break Sword. 1 Levier the Sea Dragon. Or 2. My bad. So we cut the break sword down from 2 to 1. Generally, when I make combos, I never see this because I'm using Levier to get back the pieces anyway. And I can still end on full combo. Most of the time, full combo isn't really a thing on the first turn. Unless your opponent has no disruptions. If your opponent has no disruptions and you draw a God Hand, you're going to see all 3 of these cards. Levier is generally going to be XC'd with each other to make your F-Zero into your Draco Future. And the Bardiche is going to blow itself up or whatever to be able to make your rank 4s and Dark Rebellion. But I took out one Rusty Bardiche because you can just make it whenever, and then you can also summon it back whenever off of one of your traps in the graveyard because you can just special summon it back, and if you only have 1 Levier or whatever, it's good. So even if you don't make 2 Levier, you can make one of these, one of him, 1 Levier, use its effect, blow itself up, another thing, special summon 2, make Dark Rebellion, and then you can banish the trap from your graveyard, bring the break sword back, XC it with Levier, still make your other monster negate. You just got to be careful because if you don't have the extra 2 monsters in the field, you won't be able to make Dragoon, and that basically hurts for your spell and trap negations. But I have another card that is kind of like a cheeky spell and trap negation for this deck because I don't have any besides Dragoon and his number 75 Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. So Gossip Shadow basically, it has an effect. I don't think anybody ever uses this one, but if your opponent activates a card or effect, it's still a monster negation. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, detach 2 materials from this card. The activated effect becomes both players draw a card. Then also has an effect that can target one other number monster I control and attach it and its materials to that card as materials. And its obvious targets can be, your Draco Future, but your 1 Dark Rebellion, 1 Dark Requiem, 1 Future, and 1 Draco Future. Alright, I'm not going to really go over combos today, but what you would generally see for this deck for boards would look something like this. With, so it's be your Draco Future with the 4 materials on it, your Dark Requiem with 3 materials because the Rebellion would have 2, a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon with Rusty Bardiche. The Dragoon would be over here with your Verte Anaconda right there. And so you'd have the 1 monster negate here, your 1 monster negate here. Your Rusty Bardiche would pop when this gets special summoned to this zone. And then you have your Verte Anaconda, which made your Dragoons. The Dragoons is overkill, but if you can make it. It's basically just going to allow you to full send and win. Because these monster negates are important in this format, so that's why this is super good. And then Dragoon can negate the spells if you want to, but it also negates the monster effects. Alright, but anyway, I hope everybody has a great day. Always leave feedback. It works, it helps, and it helps me become better in deck building, and also helps other people out because other people become more knowledgeable in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And what all everybody's about. Again, not everybody can be the kindest of people in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! People just don't care, and they always just basically say screw you to everybody else because why not? They're the best player in the game. But if we help everybody else out, it gives more people the incentivizes more people to play the game. But that was the Phantom Knights deck profile, and I'm sorry for the poor image quality. Going through trying different recording apps, seeing which one has the better quality. My subscription for the last one ran out, and I've been unfortunately tight on money, so I didn't renew it. So it'd be 480p or whatever this one was. I think, the last one was like 360p. This one was like, I think 720, but I had to zoom in a little bit, so it's a little bit less than that. But whatever, as long as you guys can see the cards, and I've just explained what they all did, it shouldn't make that much of a difference. But alright, I hope everybody has a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.